An idea I've pondered for quite some time is to make a video in the form of a rhyme, but doing so for a 2-hour race seemed like a chore, so I picked a shorter race because I'm a bore. It may have moved to the downtown, but if you're a Belle fan, there's no need to frown. So without further ado, it's time to vote at the 2012 Grand Prix of Detroit. For the first time since 2008, the IndyCars will return to the track by the Great Lake, so celebrate if you want with a fresh piece of cake. The race in Belle would be the 6th of the year, but while some smiled, others shed a tear. Dario Franchitti had gotten his 3rd Indy win. Takuma Sato, meanwhile, had a heartbreaking spin. Aussie Will Power entered with the championship lead, certainly considered by him and his team as a good thing indeed. Scott Dixon of New Zealand would grab the pole position. What can I say? The man was on a mission. Other stories from qualifying are known, which certainly makes editor me groan. Simona Di Silvestro was stuck with a poor Lotus, which made her year very modus. It was an engine penalty this time around, leaving her at the back, which definitely had to feel like a smack. It was a great P3 run from Alex Tagliani. I couldn't find a word to rhyme, so hi, my name's Ronnie. The field in total with 25 cars. All of them drivers, none can play the guitars. Heavy winds and the weather were both big questions, or did the meteorologists just have brain congestions? The famous fountain was forced to be turned off, meaning some frowned, but if they didn't do it, some might have drowned. With questions left to be answered and 90 laps in front of our face, now we can get to the start of the race. Before the race begins, it's tragic for Tagliani in 3rd. His car didn't start and his race is down the toilet, just like a turd. As a broadcaster said, for Spanish go to ESPN Deportes. But there's not a Spanish version of this video, so if you don't like that, buenos noches. The green flag flies and we're underway in Motown, and with a fantastic start, Scott Dixon deserved a crown. But behind him there was slicing and dicing. That's not a bad thing, as the racing was enticing and exciting. Justin Wilson, however, would break his suspension after he hit the wall. The only way for him to get around now was by giving a taxi a call. Soon enough, the field spread out with Scott Dixon at the front, pulling a big lead without even making a grunt. EJ Viso looked like a rolling roadblock towards the beginning, but with passing being difficult, he must have been grinning. RHR and Briscoe were separated by barely any air. As in the words of Scott Goodyear, they tried to battle. RHR would get some attention from the block against a pass, with the race director calling him an ass. Rubens Barrichello would then run into issues. While in the pits, the team should have given him tissues. Unfortunately for the Brazilian, he would be out of the race, while Scott Dixon set the pace. It was then James Jakes going wide in the 8th corner. It was brake issues that screwed over the foreigner. The commentary from Marty Reed makes me feel freely, as his awkwardness in the booth gives me confidence about what I've done on Apex Racing TV. A not so subtle plug, you may think it was a shill, but if you were sat here watching this, you'd realize it's not a thrill. As the race developed, an issue became prevalent. The track was breaking up, a topic very relevant. The rolling roadblock of EJ Viso now had 13 cars stuck behind him. One mistake in the tight pack, and the outcome could be grim. A bout of drama ensued around lap 24, with Bourdais low on power, and Franchitti's front wing poor. Then Viso had a big moment, nearly crashing in turn 14, but surprisingly with the stack up, everyone got through clean. The gaps at the front grew even more obscene, with 3 separating Dixon and Power, nearly 20 for Power and Viso, with Pagano in between. The pit stops came and went, without a great deal of change, with Scott Dixon in the lead by over 10 seconds, certainly a big range. On lap number 40, the first incident ensued. With James Hinchcliffe crashing, drama was soon to be brewed. Around the same time, Sato crashed too, but although similar, it wasn't deja vu. While Sato hit the curb, the reason for the crash vivid, James Hinchcliffe had an issue, making the Canadian livid. The track issues mentioned earlier had reared their ugly head. The officials made it, and now it was time to lay in their bed. It wasn't a one-off either, with many parts of the track chewed. This needed to be fixed. The race was now screwed. Dixon's lead was gone, he and the team annoyed. From 10 seconds to nothing, it had been destroyed. James in his interview was certainly dismayed, and with the track repairs needed, the red flag would soon be displayed. For the next 2 hours, the race was in doubt, but as the rain came, the cars would head back out. The race had now been shortened to a 60-lap bash, giving us a 15-lap dash. Graham Rahal would run into issues as the cars refired. It would seem his car decided to retire. The rain began to fall as the green flag came out, and for some drivers, the restart was not a good bout. It was Elio Castroneves around in the 7th corner, with Ed Carpenter spinning right into the former. There's more chaos ahead, the rain certainly in the frame. The race officials should should definitely be to blame. The rain should have been a concern well before the green. The decision to race warrants a scream. The rain would stop, and so would the coverage on main ABC. Switching to ESPN News was a dumb call. That most definitely. The green would come out again with Pagenaud and Dixon in second and first. The field's chances, however, seemed to be cursed. It was Dixon pulling away again, a dominant run. But thankfully for the others, this race wasn't done. The yellow was out for the 4th time, this time for a crime. It was an assault from Marco Andretti on Viso into 5, with EJ barely escaping alive. The yellow was brief, only 2 laps to be exact. Dixon's dominance seemed to be cracked. Then after that, the green flag returned, with Dixon's car soon being blurred. He was an unstoppable force pulling away again. The win was in sight, just waiting till then. The checkered flag falls, Scott Dixon's your winner, leading all the laps and celebrating with a chicken dinner. Franchitti was in second and Pagenaud in third. Performances as welcomed as a basket of fried cheese curds. And as such concludes our 2012 Detroit adventures. From track issues to rain and dentures. I would love to hear what you thought of this strange and bizarre race. Tell me what you think, you won't end up with egg on your face. I thought points were boring, while others were hectic. Sometimes I felt like I'd go apoplectic. If you thought this persistent rhyming was a nice change of pace, let me know what you think in the comments space. I've gone on for long enough, it's time to fade out of this tune. Thank you all for watching, and have a great afternoon.